The studio lights were warm, almost too warm, like the calm before a heat wave. Floor managers whispered into headsets. The audience murmured in anticipation. And somewhere in the back of the ABC control room, a producer's hand hovered nervously over the cut to commercial button, not knowing that before the hour was over, they'd be smashing it repeatedly in pure panic. But right now, in this very second, everything looked normal. Jennifer Lopez stepped onto the set of The View like a queen entering her palace, radiant, collected, and dressed in a cream-colored blazer that caught the lights just right. As if the outfit itself was aware of the moment it was about to witness, her entrance drew polite applause, camera flashes, and that soft electric hum of expectation only true star power can generate. To the untrained eye, this looked like every other daytime interview, a celebrity doing the press rounds, plugging a new project, exchanging laughs with friendly hosts. There was something else, tension, thick, palpable, and centered entirely on the woman in red sitting at the far end of the table. Joy Behar, arms crossed, lips curled in what could only be described as a smirk dipped in vinegar. The View's theme music played. Whoopi Goldberg welcomed the audience, her voice warm and smooth, trying, as always, to anchor the ship. And joining us today, she said, an icon. She's a singer, actress, producer, businesswoman, and honestly, just one of the hardest working people in showbiz. Please welcome Jennifer Lopez. The audience clapped. Whoopi smiled. Sunny Hostin leaned in for a soft greeting. Sarah N. offered a compliment about the blazer, but Joy didn't clap. Instead, she squinted slightly, leaning forward like a predator analyzing its prey. Jennifer sat, still smiling, but her eyes flicked for just a microsecond toward Joy's seat, and if you were watching closely enough, you could feel the moment something inside her tightened. "Thank you for having me," Jennifer said, her voice calm, steady. "It's always great to be here with you all, but this wasn't going to be great." And everyone, from the interns in the wings to the audience in their folding seats, was about to find out why. Before we continue, don't just watch history unfold, be part of it. If you're watching this unfold live, take a second, like, share, and subscribe right now. Because this isn't just an interview, this is a detonation, and it starts. Here, Joy Behar leaned in. "So, Jennifer," she said, dragging out the syllables like a blade being sharpened, "let's talk about your latest project." The studio laughed awkwardly. Jennifer's expression didn't flinch. "Joy wasn't done. You've been in the game for decades. How do you, keep up? Because I imagine at some point the question becomes, is it still relevant? Or is it just noise?" The air in the studio changed, subtle but immediate. Like oxygen had just been pulled out of the room, Jennifer blinked once. Then again, and she smiled, the kind of smile that's rehearsed not for fakery, but survival. "Joy," she began, her voice velvety with just a hint of steel. "I don't really think of it as keeping up. I think of it as continuing to evolve, to stay curious. I create because I love it." Joy interrupted. "But how many comebacks does one person need? Honestly, doesn't it start to look a little desperate?" Whoopi shifted. Sarah coughed. Sunny bit her lower lip. The audience was completely silent. Jennifer straightened in her chair, not aggressive, not defensive, just taller. "I don't consider myself a comeback story," she said. "I've always been here, creating, working, earning." "Oh, earning," Joy repeated, rolling her eyes. "Okay, is that a problem for you?" Jennifer asked, not smiling anymore. "I just think," Joy said, voice rising just a decibel, "maybe it's time to pass the torch. You've had your moment. Why not let someone else have theirs?" The audience shifted. There were murmurs. A woman in the second row mouthed, "What the hell?" Jennifer nodded slowly, like she was counting to 10 in her head. "Joy," she said, "I didn't come here to be told I'm expired. I came to talk about the work I love. But you clearly have an issue with me." "Oh, don't flatter yourself," Joy said, laughing. The tone was dismissive, cold, aimed to humiliate. "Then what would you call this line of questioning?" Jennifer asked, the fire in her voice now unmistakable. "I'd call it honesty," Joy snapped. "Something Hollywood rarely offers you." There was a pause, a long one. Then Joy leaned forward again, eyes locked on Jennifer's. "You know what else people wonder about, Jennifer? she said, low and slow. How many engagements is it now? 5, 6. At what point does it stop being romantic and start being a red flag? Gasps, literal gasps. A man in the back row whispered, "Oh my God." Jennifer's face froze, not in fear, but fury. The kind of fury that comes from years of people thinking they can casually devalue your entire existence with a smirk. "That's none of your business," she said, her voice like a knife wrapped in silk. "You made it our business," Joy said. "You sell your love life like it's a fragrance." Whoopi tried to step in. "Okay, Joy, no, let her talk," Jennifer said, eyes burning now. "Let her finish saying every ugly thing she's been dying to get off her chest." The tension was unbearable. Even Sunny Hostin, normally composed, was wide-eyed. "You want ugly." Joy said, voice rising. "Let's talk about your so-called talent, lip-syncing, acting like a diva, demanding special treatment. You've fooled the world." "Enough," Jennifer said, standing now. Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. The power in it was enough to silence an entire building. "I've earned everything I have. I've worked for it, and I've never needed to tear down another woman to feel important." "Oh, please," Joy scoffed. "Spare us the sisterhood speech." "I don't need your respect," Jennifer snapped. "But I won't sit here and be disrespected." And then she turned not to Joy, but to the camera, to us. "To every young girl watching this, know your worth. Don't let anyone make you feel like you've aged out of your own life." The studio broke into applause. But Joy wasn't finished. "Victimhood looks good on you," she muttered under her breath. Jennifer heard it, and in that moment, something inside her snapped. She turned back, walked toward Joy, and stared her down with the kind of intensity that doesn't need raised voices to shake a room. "I've been underestimated, disrespected, and dismissed my entire life," she said. "But I am still here. Not because of privilege, not because of men, but because I earned my place. Every album, every film, every deal." "You're just noise," Joy hissed. "No," Jennifer replied, voice low and dangerous. "I'm the reason they still watch." Joy surged to her feet. "How dare you? How dare you?" Jennifer fired back. "You're the one who's been sitting here trying to humiliate me. And for what? Because you think tearing people down makes you powerful." Security stepped forward. Sunny stood, trying to mediate. Sarah looked ready to cry. "Let her speak," Jennifer said, holding a hand up to security. "Let her show the world exactly who she is." Joy was shaking now, but she didn't stop. "You're fake," she spat. "You're not real. You're a manufactured product, and you've conned everyone into thinking you matter." And in the center of that firestorm, Jennifer Lopez did something no one expected. She smiled, a slow, steady, chilling smile, and said, "Then why are you so obsessed with me?" Joy's jaw tightened. "You think this is obsession?" she snapped, her voice brittle with disbelief. "No, Jennifer." Buying the Jennifer Lopez fairy tale anymore, the audience was holding its collective breath. And in the back, a producer whispered to a floor manager, "Do we cut to commercial?" "No," the floor manager muttered. "We can't. This is gold." Jennifer stood still, unmoved, her heels planted like she was on a battlefield. The cameras zoomed in slightly, capturing the light, catching the tears she refused to let fall. "You don't get to rewrite my story," she said slowly, voice trembling not from fear, but from the restraint it took to stay standing in the middle of an ambush. "I've never claimed to be perfect, but I've never pretended to be anyone other than myself. Can you say the same?" Joy's lips curled into something that might have been a grin, or a warning. "Sweetheart," she said, dripping sarcasm, "the difference is, I don't need to remind the world every 5 minutes that I'm still here. I just am. Right?" Jennifer nodded, eyes narrowing. "You are here, still. And yet you've spent your airtime today not asking questions, just throwing jabs. Still matter? That people still show up for me?" "Don't flatter yourself," Joy muttered again. "You said that already," Jennifer snapped. "Maybe try a new line." Gasps rippled again. Someone in the fourth row laughed under their breath and quickly covered their mouth. Joy leaned forward so sharply, her mic rustled against her blouse. "Let me tell you something, Jennifer. I've interviewed presidents, world leaders, Nobel laureates. And you think your little Vegas residency puts you on that level?" Jennifer tilted her head, eyebrow raised. And yet, here you are, losing your mind over me. Whoopi suddenly stood up, her calm finally cracking. Okay, that's enough. This is not what we do here. This is not the kind of show we run. Joy ignored her. Don't defend her, she barked. I'm not defending anyone, Whoopi replied, standing her ground. I'm protecting this show from turning into a public breakdown. Too late, Sunny murmured under her breath. Jennifer exhaled hard, like she'd been holding her breath since she walked onto the set. You know, she said, I've sat across from journalists who've asked hard questions. Real questions about career choices, failures, regrets. I can take that. What I won't take is being used as target practice by a woman who's decided she hates me before I even sat down. Joy clapped her hands together slowly. And there it is, she said mockingly. The victim narrative. Bravo. No, Joy, Jennifer replied, voice calm but firm. This isn't victimhood. This is resistance. There's a difference. Joy rolled her eyes. Spare me the empowerment poster slogans. Why are you so threatened by me? Jennifer asked, stepping a little closer, lowering her voice into something sharper than anger, disappointment. You've been sitting at this desk for decades. You have influence. You have reach. But instead of lifting people up, you use your platform to drag people down. Oh, please, Joy scoffed, rising to her feet again. The only thing you lift is your own ego. No, Jennifer said, steel entering her tone. I've lifted little girls who look like me. I've lifted entire communities. I've lifted myself out of poverty, out of stereotypes, out of the box people like you tried to keep me in. That hit Joy like a slap. But Jennifer wasn't done. You want to talk about authenticity, she asked. Then let's talk. I've cried in public. I've owned my failures. I've fallen in love, fallen apart, and stood back up in front of the world. What have you done? Sat behind this desk and judged. Joy's fists clenched against the tabletop. Security, she growled. Why are they not escorting her out? Jennifer didn't budge. I'm not leaving, she said, voice steady. Because I earned this seat today, just like you once. The difference is, I still remember what it's like to fight for it. There was a beat of silence. Then Joy did something no one expected. She laughed, a dry, bitter, humorless sound. You want to fight? She asked. Fine. Let's talk about how many assistants you've fired. Let's talk about how you treat crew members. Let's talk about the NDAs and the backdoor deals and all the mess you try to hide with that polished smile. A gasp, this time from the crew. Jennifer's eyes went icy. That's slander, she said. That's truth, Joy fired back. No, Whoopi cut in, her voice like thunder. That's a lawsuit, and it's where we draw the line. Joy's face turned to Whoopi, enraged. You want to take her side now? I'm not taking sides, Whoopi barked. I'm taking control. Because this is turning into a disaster. But Jennifer didn't stop. If you think you can rattle me with rumors, she said, you haven't been paying attention. I've survived worse than your gossip, and I'm still standing, and I always will. Joy slammed her palm on the table. You're still standing because you have a PR team the size of the Pentagon. You're still sitting because no one else wants your seat. Jennifer snapped. The room detonated. The audience erupted. Some gasped, some cheered. Others just sat frozen, unable to believe they were witnessing this level of unfiltered rage, live, uncensored, and crashing through every polite boundary daytime TV had ever tried to maintain. Sarah stood now, hands raised. Can we just stop? She pleaded, but the eye of the storm was locked, and neither woman was backing down. You're a hypocrite, Joy said. A coward, Jennifer said, who hides behind a desk and thinks throwing daggers at people from a safe distance makes you brave. Sunny stood. This is becoming dangerous, she said quietly. You're not just arguing anymore. You're trying to destroy each other. No, Jennifer corrected her. She's trying to destroy me. I'm just not letting her get away with it. Destroy you, Joy scoffed. You're invincible, remember? Global icon, billion-dollar empire. Why are you so rattled by me? Jennifer looked at her, long and hard. Because you don't get to insult my work, my relationships, and my identity, and then act shocked when I don't. Thank you for the abuse. Maybe I'm just the first person to tell you the truth, Joy muttered. Jennifer leaned in close. No, she said. You're just the loudest person too bitter to care about the damage you do. Joy opened her mouth to respond, but security finally stepped in, standing between them. "Ma'am, we need to ask you to step back," a guard said gently to Jennifer. "I'm fine," she said, never taking her eyes off Joy. Joy smirked. "Yeah, run to security, just like a diva." "I'm not running," Jennifer said. "I'm standing, and I'm not standing down." One of the producers in the control booth whispered, "What do we do? This is out of control." Another replied, "We keep rolling." Because, even in the wreckage, this was television history, raw, real, and impossible to look away from. Jennifer stepped back from the table, took a breath, and looked around the room. At the audience, the crew, the co-hosts, everyone watching, wide-eyed, stunned. And she said, "You invited me here to talk about my work. Instead, I was ambushed. But I'm not ashamed. I came here with truth. And truth, no matter how messy, deserves the light." Joy's voice cut through again, but this time lower, controlled, dangerous. "The truth is, you're a symbol, Jennifer. A perfect product. Beautiful, bankable, but empty. And the world's starting to figure it out." Jennifer's face didn't move, but her voice did. Strong. Calm, final, and you, Joy, are a warning. A reminder of what happens when someone lets bitterness rot them from the inside out. The studio sat in stunned silence, and before anyone could react, the lights flickered. A glitch, a power surge, maybe just bad wiring, but it was enough to make the audience gasp again, enough to make the tension spike one final time, enough to set the stage for what was still to come. Because this wasn't the end, this was only the middle. The flicker of the lights had barely faded when Joy's voice cut through the uneasy silence like a serrated blade. "Well, if the lights can't handle the heat in this room, what hope do you have, Jennifer?" Her smirk was venomous, eyes glittering. With cruel satisfaction, Jennifer didn't flinch. Instead, she took a slow, deliberate breath, the kind that fills a room with an unspoken warning. "This is about more than lights. Joy, it's about truth shining through the shadows, something you clearly fear." The audience murmured, some leaning forward, others shielding their eyes from the intensity. Sunoni's voice trembled as she tried to salvage the moment. "Maybe we should, no?" Whoopi interrupted sharply, her tone slicing through the tension. "No commercial break. This isn't a show anymore. It's a battle." The camera zoomed tightly on Joy's face, which twisted in a mix of rage and desperation. "You think you're winning? Look around you, Jennifer. The audience. They're just waiting for you to break." Jennifer's lips twitched into a cold smile. "Then they'll be waiting a long time." A low rumble echoed through the studio as Jennifer's phone buzzed discreetly in her lap. She glanced down briefly, eyes flickering with something almost unreadable. Joy caught the glance and pounced. "Checking your phone, avoiding the truth." "Again, no," Jennifer shot back, voice low. "Just reminders that while you're throwing stones, I'm still building." That hit a nerve. Joy's composure cracked like a shattered mirror. "You think this little war is about careers?" she spat. "It's about power, control. Who gets to define the narrative? Who gets to silence the other?" Jennifer's stare sharpened. "Funny, I always thought that was what you were trying to do today." Suddenly, from the side of the set, a sharp voice interrupted. "Enough." It was the executive producer, stepping forward with authority that cut through the chaos. "This interview is over." For a heartbeat, the room froze. Joy's face flushed, rage mixing with disbelief. "You can't just end this." "Yes, we can," the producer said, eyes locking on Jennifer. "And we will." Jennifer nodded subtly, standing up again, her voice carrying calm power. "I came here to talk about my work, my passion. I didn't come here to be torn down, but I won't apologize for standing up." Joy's final shot was a venomous hiss. "This isn't over, Jennifer. The world will see who you really are." Jennifer turned to the cameras one last time. "To everyone watching," she said, voice steady, "remember that standing up to cruelty isn't weakness, it's strength. And sometimes strength means walking away with your head held high." With that, she walked off the set. The studio erupted, some cheering, others stunned into silence. Joy slumped back into her chair, her face a mask of defeat and fury. Whoopi sighed heavily. "Well, that was something," Sunani nodded. Yeah, something wild. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every lingering glance, every whispered word, because the fallout from this confrontation wasn't ending anytime soon. The studio was a battlefield strewn with shattered facades, silenced hosts, and an audience still grappling with the weight of what they had just witnessed. The cameras lingered on empty chairs, a lingering echo of words thrown like daggers moments. Before, Jennifer Lopez's footsteps echoed softly as she made her way down the corridor. Backstage, every step a testament to resilience. The bright lights of the set faded behind her, but the fire in her eyes remained unextinguished. This wasn't just about an interview gone wrong. This was about fighting for dignity, respect, and the right to exist on her own terms. Back in the studio, the hosts sat in stunned silence. Joy Behar's posture was rigid, her face pale, the venom drained, but the bitterness still thick in the air. Whoopi's gaze was heavy with a mixture of sadness and frustration, the cost of airing raw truth on live television. Then, without warning, the tension shattered. Whoopi pushed back from her chair, exhaling slowly. We all witnessed something. Tonight, a reminder that even the brightest stars can be dimmed by cruelty. But also, that strength isn't just about the spotlight, it's about how you rise when the world tries to tear you down. Sunny nodded. This isn't just a story about Jennifer or Joy. It's about every person who's ever been judged, underestimated, or told to step aside. Sarah's voice cracked with emotion. It's about us, how we treat each other when the cameras aren't rolling. Outside the studio, Jennifer stood alone for a moment, the city's distant hum a soft backdrop to her resolve. She reached for her phone and opened a live video on her social media. Her way of speaking directly to the millions watching. Her voice was steady, warm, and powerful. To everyone who watched today, she said, "Thank you. Thank you for witnessing not just a fight, but a fight for respect for every person who's ever been told they don't belong or that their time is up. This isn't about me. It's about all of us who keep pushing, keep creating, keep dreaming, no matter the obstacles." She smiled softly, eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. But I've also never stopped trying, and neither should you." Her message was clear. Resilience isn't just surviving, it's thriving with grace, dignity, and an unbreakable spirit. Back on the set, Joy sat quietly, the weight of the confrontation settling into something deeper than anger, perhaps, a glimpse of self-awareness. The studio faded to black as the closing credits rolled over a final message. In a world quick to tear down, let us choose to lift up, to create, to respect, to honor every story, every voice, every dream. Then, Jennifer's voice cut in once more, this time not from the studio, but from the screen of millions of devices around the globe. Like, share, and subscribe if you believe in standing up to cruelty. Because the fight for respect and truth isn't over. It's just beginning. Stay tuned, the next chapter is coming. The screen faded to black, but the impact lingered alive. Raw reminder that sometimes the fiercest battles aren't on the battlefield, but in the quiet. Moments when dignity refuses to be broken. The story ends, but the conversation lives on. What did you feel watching that? Ready for more raw, unfiltered, viral confrontations? Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe, because this is only the beginning of the most explosive stories on the planet.